Hey, welcome back to Nothing But Drums. I'm John, and today we're going to look at some of the archives from my public access show on Channel 21 here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're going to look at two great guests. One is an old buddy's band of, an old band. A buddy of mine's old band. That's what I meant. A buddy of mine's old band that played here in Charlotte. Gosh, this must have been about 2010? Nah. Yeah, about 2010, 2008, maybe that long ago. Anyway, they're playing live in the studio. This band was called Planeside. I don't believe they're around anymore. My buddy Craig is playing drums, and he has a couple different bands he's playing with now up in New York. But check it out. This is a band Planeside. And also on the same show, we are going to take a look at Jim Brock, famous percussion drum player here in Charlotte, and nationally he's played with a lot of big names. Who else has he played with? He played with, oh gosh, I can't think of who he's played with right now. I'm going to have to get back to you. All right, thanks for tuning in. Nothing But Drums.
Back on top again. keep on running on down the line. On the road to fail, a one-way destination, riding shotgun to hell. You can't stop me now. You can't stop me now. I'm on fire, fire, fire. I'm on fire, fire, fire. Well, I'll burn up with you in hell. Well, it's getting gone. Well, ain't a story I can tell. Well, it's getting gone. One day I met the devil, now the devil's a friend of mine. Though he knows that I'm just an angel trying to get back to heaven. But heaven's not on my side. So where am I gonna go when I die? I'm on fire, fire, fire. I'm on fire, fire, fire. Well, I'll burn up with you in hell. Well, it's getting gone. Well, ain't a story I can tell. Well, getting gone. Well, I'll burn up with you in hell. Well, it's getting gone. Well, ain't a story I can tell. Well.
I noticed you're using the textures of the coated heads a lot with your hands, and you're really getting some nice stroke. It's a great sound because it's really soft, but it starts to build into something. You don't know where it's going to go, but it's cool.
I'm the last one to know where it's going to go. Sometimes it takes me places I didn't plan on going, but.
Where did you come up with the idea? You have a tube, I noticed, and we got some shots of that, where you play and you have a tube in your mouth, and it sounds like you're changing the pitch of one of the drums. That's correct?
Right.
Okay. Where did you come up with that idea?
Oh, I discovered that when I was a kid. I had a rack tom, and it had some dust in it, or something was rattling around in it, so I'm trying to shake it out of the hole, kind of like when you drop a guitar pick into an acoustic guitar.
Right.
I'm trying to get it out of there, and I'm kind of blowing in it and banging on it, and I just happen to like blow and hit the drum at the same time, and I go, whoa, that's cool. So my dad was an auto mechanic, so he always had tubes laying around from stuff, and so I just stuck a tube in the hole, and there it was.
So was this before you even started playing with other groups? It was just kind of just practicing?
No, I mean, I was playing in bands at the time.
Oh, okay.
But it was just one of those happy accidents, and then I went years and years and years and forgot all about it, and then the last couple of years or so I brought it back out because I was, there's this Kathy Mattea tune that we recorded, and the intro and first verse and everything is a drum pattern, but it has a talking drum with it. And on the gig, that's how I play it. And then, but the second verse comes around, and full kit's in there, but the talking drum part still stays on the record.
Okay.
So I had to find a way to keep that sort of that talking drum part in the second verse. So I started doing that.
Can you demonstrate, Charlie? What we're going to do? I want to ask Jim to demonstrate the blowing in the drum and changing the pitch of it briefly while we're talking.
Okay.
So what you're doing is all you do is take a plastic tube and you put it into the vent hole of the drum.
Yeah. I wish I could tell you what size the tube is because I don't really know. I just went to your local home improvement center, and
you can just tell me where
really
to stick
cheap.
it, right?
Yeah, it was just really cheap, and so you just put it just stick it into the vent hole of the rack tom.
Okay.
And just blow air into it.
Wow.
And it inflates the drum and raises the pitch, and it takes very little air. I mean, floor tom, of course, takes a little more air, but it's.
I bet you the first engineer you recorded that with was freaked when you did it, right?
Oh yeah, but it's like.
It changes the whole sound of the drum. It makes it a little more musical. It's great. It's a great idea.
Yeah. It's just a new sound, and I played on The View a couple years ago, and we happened to do that tune, and camera zooms in on me, and I've got this tube hanging out of my mouth, and everybody's, what is that? And I was getting emails and phone calls going, what's that in your mouth?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's something totally different. I saw the DVD. I said the same thing. I was like, God, he's a wicked alcoholic. Look at him. He's drinking when he's playing. Have you tried it with any of the other drums, or is it just the rack tom and it works the best?
Yeah, it's got to be a tom. The snare doesn't really
You get a lot
work.
of buzz, I guess, with the snare.
Well, does this snare have a vent hole?
Yeah, it's right by the badge there.
Shall we take a quick see? Because to be honest with you, I never thought a snare would work, but
So I came up with a cool idea, maybe.
So I never tried it. So this is the first. It's not going to work.
Okay.
It's too tight. The head's too tight.
You probably
so.
have to have a lot of lung power to get it moving
Yeah,
a bit.
and that's not me.
Okay, so as someone who's young who wants to get behind the kit and he wants to incorporate percussion, what tips do you have for him? Because I notice in a lot of magazines now that it seems to be all the rage. All the companies are making some sort of percussion, lots of blocks and stuff. I think it's more about texture than instead of getting busy. I think that's the whole point of adding percussion into drums anyway.
Right. It's just to add a different sound and texture when you need it. You know, of course, you know, you can do the kind of like the Latin thing I was doing. You know, if you're the only drummer in that ensemble or something, you know, if you incorporate the congas, then you have to have some sort of knowledge of the conga, because because your hands are split, you got one stick in one hand, you've got to get that heel-toe rocking thing down.
Okay.
You know, so otherwise you're just gonna wind up kind of doing hits, but not, you know, not getting a lot of motion.
Right.
Because what you want to try to do is, you know, you can't play, or some grooves you can, but for the most part, you can't play the full groove on the conga and the full groove on the drum. So you have to kind of manufacture a combination of the two and just kind of paint a picture of two guys, you know, and try to find out what works.
What would you suggest for a beginner who wants to incorporate? What kind of percussion equipment should he get? Cowbell?
Well, that's usually the first.
Is it? Okay.
Is a cowbell.
Right.
Because that's easy in the groove, you know, and grooves love that quarter note or whatever, you know. That'd be the first thing that I would do, you know, maybe a tambourine, you know, a mark tree, some chimes, you know, for different textures or stuff, or, you know, or get a djembe and put here.
Ah, there's an idea.
Djembes are nice for this because you got that low tone and the bottom's exposed. And
what were some of the things you were doing within the kit with your hands? You were kind of playing. To me, it seemed like you were doing the congas on the drums, actually playing like you would play a conga on the actual kit, which was nice because some people play on the floor time and they hit it. I don't think it. I've seen some cats when they're playing drums to try to use their hand, kind of a John Bonham thing. They don't get across as well. What you did was more musical because you played the actual toms and the snare as if they were congas and a percussion, which they are. They're a percussion instrument.
Right. Yeah. You know, the snare is great for a conga simulator, sort of, because you can mute it and really get a nice slap, you know, with your finger. You got all that nice finger stuff you can do, and then you got all that stuff too.
Right. Live, when you're playing with a band, what's the most effective percussion? I don't even know how to really phrase the question. What would be the most effective thing to do live with a band that gets across as a drummer? Whether it be hitting your hands or changing the pitch of the drum or using a conga. What do you find the most effective?
Effective in the music or effective?
Effective in the music within the band, and that gets across. So you're not really wasting your time. You're trying to do something that's kind of neat, but no one really hears it. Something that you use that's really effective within the show and within the band and the music you're playing.
Congas, of course, always works really well because if you know, the thing is, it's either going to be on the left side or on the right side, you know. But if you can, if we can sit this so I can get it to my right hand,
okay,
then you can kind of. I know my mic's on, so I'm going to try to play this really quietly, but. You can kind of give both in a way, you know, keep that.
That cuts across nicely, and it's not too busy. It's just there. It's great.
It stays out of the way, and you know, it just adds a nice thing. You know, you can, you know, if you can sound like two guys, do it. That's kept me working all these years. You know?
Do you think some people who use percussion in a kit just get too busy with it?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I've been on gigs where I'd be playing just percussion, and then there'd be a trap drummer, and then he would start adding percussion to his kit, and then pretty soon I didn't have anywhere to go.
Okay, so he used up all the space.
He used up all the space, and you don't want to do that because, you know, music is all about parts.
Letting people sing within each other. That's how the band works as a unit.
Yeah, everybody's got their part they play, and it makes one sum.
What were the first? Well, actually, I'm getting the wrap-up sign here, so that means we're going to have to end the show a little early. I'm going to come in on camera 2, Charlie, and we're going to close this out. This has been Jim Brock. I've been John Ehlers, and you've been watching Nothing But Drums.